on, everyone, and welcome to the seventh episode of the Best in the Mix podcast. I am your host, TwonJonson, and I'm here with my boy, Ghoul. Go ahead. Yeah. Stayfly.
What's good?
And we got my man, Devon, on with a special guest. Go ahead and say what's up to the people, Devon.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen?
I want us to go ahead, and I don't want to waste no time. We're going to jump right into what y'all been waiting to hear. It's the good music rollout. We know there's been a circus going on these past couple of months with, Kanye West antics, and, all the artists that are tied into good music and whatnot. We had, what was it, 5 albums from all of them?
Yep.
We had the Pusha T album, Daytona. We had Kanye West, Ye. We had Nas with Nasir. We had the Kid Cudi and Kanye West album, Kids See Ghosts. And we had the Tiana Taylor album, Keep That Same Energy. All right. So I want us to start with Daytona. And I'm going to just go ahead and say it right off the bat. It's easily my favorite out of all of these.
Definitely.
And even though it's only 7 tracks, I wanted more. But it's most of the album is quality. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with all of these albums is the fact that because they're short, you kind of hope that they're the best 7 tracks that they were working on all this time, right? Push's album seems like it's the closest to that. Stayfly, how did you feel about Daytona on your first couple listens, man?
Well, this joint, I think I agree with you. I think out of the whole good music rollout, this is definitely like what we expected the whole sort of catalog to be. From behind the scenes, I think since Push and Kanye have sort of like a closer sort of like a mentor-mentee sort of relationship. I think Push was actually in the lab with Kanye when they were doing picking the beats, because out of all of these, not only do these sound better, but like thematically, like it felt like there was more back and forth. So I feel like Push was able to really, like, he wasn't the quarterback per se, or I guess he was the quarterback and Kanye was kind of like the coach, and so they were able just to bounce off each other. So I think this one came out a little bit more organically. I think Push was Push. We knew what we was gonna get. We knew we were gonna get them cocaine bars. We knew we were gonna get some like dope metaphors. We knew, there's just gonna be like some raw stuff, and then Kanye was able to sort of supplement that with a couple soulful beats and a couple dope ass tracks.
Yeah,
I think this is what we hoped. I think the whole 5 album thing would have been. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, but this is definitely like the best one out of all of them.
It's kind of a shame that it came out first. Almost wish it was one of the last ones, but it just started off hot. You had If You Know, You Know, and then it ended high with Infrared.
Yeah.
Devon, I want to know how you felt about if you ain't hear the album, how'd you feel about just Infrared? You know what I'm saying? Him going at your boy.
When you on top, everybody's coming for you. And for you to drum stuff up with the biggest name out there right now, with all of your releases lining up, that to me, that's great business sense.
Yeah, he definitely had as far as marketing goes. I hate to give Kanye props for it, but it kind of worked. It's just a shame that it had to go down the way it did. Ray, how you feel about the Push album, man?
I loved it, for one. Like that, I agree with you, because it was my top out of the good. I didn't even listen to the Kanye and Cudi. I listened to everybody else's.
Oh, okay.
Now with Push's, I've been y'all know, which is why I'm here for Best in the Mix, because I still, my ear is more towards y'all generation. Like, I really appreciate y'all's era of music and how hip hop was. So Pusha has always been one of my people, from clips to, from high school, he's always been with me, like clips, everything that he's done. has progressed, and I've been more and more of a fan. So we can go back to his most recent work, starting in just with the Wrath of Cain in 2013 with that mixtape, going from there to King Push to now this. Even though it was only 7 tracks, it was a lot of substance in here. It was, it was just a lot of coke rap, just slick talking, greasy talking, just push it that we know. So and you started with If You Know You Know. My 2 favorite tracks that was on there personally was The Games We Play and Come Back Baby.
Okay, no doubt.
So those just hit me because it was so much soul, especially with Come Back Baby. I love that sample.
Yeah, man, the sample was tough. One thing I'll say about the Daytona album, just compared to the other ones, despite the length, it still felt complete.
Yep.
And I think that's its that's its biggest merit. That's the biggest positive that you could take from it. But yeah, man, Push knocked it out the park, man. And I think that, Push was doing a lot of fighting with Kanye about the whole length thing, because we know he wanted to drop a full fucking album. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they all did. But Kanye got this shit in the chokehold. It's his label, shit, he can do what he want to do, I guess. Let's see. Let's go ahead and move on to the Kanye. Wait. Whoa,
I got a question for you. Man. Now, with the whole album release thing. Now, I don't know if y'all paid attention. Nas had an issue with his album. Kanye even had an issue with his album, and Tiana Taylor, as far as with the transit time, like how soon it came out. How do you think, like, why was Push's album Rollout better than everybody else?
It seems like his was smooth and everybody else was rough as shit, right?
Horrible. Nas didn't drop his till like 9 o'clock that night, even though it was supposed to drop in the morning. Tiana, hers was the same thing, and she was on Twitter wilding out. Not within reason though. Within reason. It wasn't like it wasn't merited, but everybody else had a fucked up album release.
I gotta be perfectly honest. I expected it for all of them. I expected all of them to have delays. I expect, just because Kanye's behind it, and this is just what I have come to know from him. His last album, I mean, had the same issue, so I'm like, okay, he's about to be behind all 4 of these artists plus his own. Like, ain't none of these come out on time. So I was shocked when Daytona did come out on time. But the rest of them, I just that was just normal to me. I'm like, okay, all right, this is the Kanye that I expect. But I don't know. I don't know why, like, when I really think about it. Is that a sign of them just being rushed? I think Kanye just was fucking changing his mind last minute.
That's what a lot of it was, because
that's what it was.
Like you said, you've been paying attention to the Joe Budden podcast, so a lot of my ideas that I feel probably not even, I'm not gonna say they spur from there. They probably are Joe Budden's ideas, actually.
Okay.
I understand what he says as far, and even with, not to fast forward, but I know that y'all had to see the reports as far as with Drake and the March 14th record and how Pusha got all his information. Joe Budden, that was all his theory, and no site gave him accreditation for that. So I feel like a lot of like Joe Budden's ideas are mine. So don't, it's not.
It's all good.
I'm gonna cite him. I'm gonna say that.
I actually just read about what you just talked about, and I was like, wow. So if Push had all that information that long ago, that's a great chess move.
Kanye a whole ass nigga for that.
Yeah, he is, but that's also under him. Like, he gets paid off of that. Like, they all get paid off of that. And another thing on the album lengths now, honestly, for this day and age, these short attention spans, I think that's the new wave. Like, short albums, under 10 songs, pump them out, and each one is considered a full album. So you could save those and you just pump them out. So
yeah, and Kanye. Let's see. If someone is not wearing headphones, should probably wear headphones. I'm hearing the echo now. But Kanye said specifically the reason why he kept everything to 7 tracks was because he was trying to respect people's time. Nice. And when I first heard that, I respected it. I definitely respected that because people's attention spans are short. I don't know how I feel about somebody dropping a 25 track album these days. You know, because that's almost a chore to get through it, no matter how good or bad it is. That's a lot of fucking time. So I respected him for that. But when he said that, that gave me the impression that every single album was going to be fire. And I don't feel like that was the case for the majority of them. You know, there was more misses than there were hits out of the good music rollout. You know, and I mean the biggest miss of them all was Kanye West himself with Ye, which was the most emo filled snooze fest I've ever heard from Kanye in my fucking life.
You talking about the Cudi album?
No, Kanye's solo album, the one that was just called Ye. See, that shit is so bad that people just breezed past it and went straight to the Cudi jump. Yeah. Nah, Kanye had his own solo jump.
Yeah, I you know what? I'll be honest, I haven't even listened to his yet. but that Cudi joint, hey, I always mess with Cudi, man. I want to say you put me on man.
We'll get to Cudi in just a minute because I definitely wanted to talk about that too. But did anyone listen to the Kanye album?
No.
I listen to everything because you told me to.
No doubt. There was one song that kind of caught me, and it was sort of like the dedication to his wife, because after all his antics, apparently, like he thought Kim was gonna leave him or some shit, so he made a song "Wouldn't Leave." That song is all right, but you know the rest of that album, I mean, that shit is, I mean, you know what it sounds like, and this is a Joe Budden bite. It sounds like a bunch of reference tracks, you know. Like just skeletal songs, ideas that they use to usually in the studio. What you do is you'll have reference tracks and you use ideas from the reference track to make another song that's actually good. But it's like Kanye just used a bunch of reference tracks and put them on the album. I'm like, yo, we only got 7 tracks. Like they have to all be fire. Otherwise, I mean, yo, all the promotion, like all of the antics, all the circus surrounding you and your label is for nothing if all of the music is not flames. That's how I feel about it. But Kanye, what's up?
Kanye, his antics this past summer and spring kind of offset me. So that initially got me not really wanting to listen to his music. And and I understand that you should be like unbiased and objective with music, because you know a lot of people, damn near every artist probably do some underground stuff that we don't like. You know, people are people, so they gonna do whatever they're gonna do. But Kanye with all his Trump shit and just the MAGA, it got to be too much, especially on top of the actual real life stuff that we was dealing with.
Yeah, man.
As a people. So for us to be seeing on what's going on in the news, and then for this dumb motherfucker to be endorsing him for whatever reason, I don't care, whatever it may be. But I mean, I didn't even delve too deep into the Van Lathan and TMZ thing, but all I needed was a title. And it's not even to necessarily say I believe in all the clickbait, because it was probably, I mean, I understood the message from what I did listen to, excuse me, but it's just like Kanye, it's too much. He acting like a bad bitch. Like he acting like Black China. Actually, that's what he's doing. Kanye West is acting like Black China, and that shit is like really offsetting me from you musically. So I don't want to listen to, like, you know what? And just to say, I know we're not on the Nas, but on the Nas album when he had the cop shot the kid, when I first heard that, I had kind of went to sleep on Nas album, but that's because I work night shift. But when I heard that song, I'm like, wait, Kanye produced this? I'm like, but he been on all this cool shit.
It's like he's just flip-flopping, right?
Exactly.
I respect you for being strong and staying away from that Ye album. But yeah, I kind of felt the same way with the cop shot the kid. You know, I'm like, you can't stand up now, bro. You know, like you've already buried yourself. And this is not something where, you know, you can just, just like double dutch your way in and out, you know, like that's not, man. Like it's hard to continue to respect anything he does moving forward.
Pick a side, get on the laydown, like Bean said.
Or just do your research first. he hadn't educated himself on what was really going on before he started popping off, and that's why he looked like an ass out here. Because I heard T.I. basically, you know, kind of shine some light on it, because he was at, you know, he was there talking to Kanye, trying to talk some sense into him, but he also wanted to understand where Kanye was coming from. And he's like Kanye is actually, he was like, he's not like a bigoted Trump supporter on that level. He doesn't know what's been going on with Trump, all the shit surrounding Trump, because he has been in the sunken place for so long. He's been shielded from the reality that we see every day. So
That's
when you
even
start,
worse.
I know, it's even, and exactly that's why, yo, you just gotta shut the fuck up, you know. He feels like he's on the level where he could just say anything and it's all right. But I'm like, nah, bro, you know. So he just had a complete misunderstanding of the impact of the words he was saying, and that's why he said it's so carefree, because he just did not know any better. But I'm like, yo, you can't be no 40-year-old man popping off like that and not knowing what you're talking about.
From Chicago, and who in 2004, 2005 said George Bush don't care about black people, and now you're so far removed that you can't understand what the plight is that people are going through, and you from Chicago. So, and the thing is, Kanye has been in hip hop culture for so long. How can you avoid that? Like,
it's the power of the Kardashian machine.
Just to go, remember when I know y'all, of course y'all know because y'all are older than me. Remember when Beanie Siegel, it was Kanye had a situation and Beanie Siegel had to do a favor for him, and basically, and he references in 2016 when he said felony favors ain't free. So he had, I don't know what it was that he did for Kanye. I know the story. I mean, I remember hearing it anyway.
Vaguely remember. I don't remember the details though.
But you know these type of people that's in the streets and this and that, so you know what's going on in people's different communities. You was with Rockefeller. Your man's is from Brooklyn. One of the other best rappers at that time that was on that label from Philly, or a couple of them was from Philly. So how you from the inner city and don't necessarily know? And I understand you might not necessarily try to be too involved with media to actually understand what's going on, but it's like, bro, how are you existing in the world and not knowing what's going on, especially as a musician?
I mean, that just, you know, goes to show you that he was just doing it for, you know, for sales. That's it, you know, and that's why the shit is just so embarrassing and just so like, you know, like makes you want to be like, fuck you, Kanye, because everyone knows the reason why he did all of this shit. So. But I don't want to spend too much time on that. We got to get through these other albums. I know y'all on the time constraint. I want to jump over to the Nas album. This album, I actually have really, really high hopes for, because when I want to say maybe right before it came out, I saw a clip of the listening party, and they were playing the Adam and Eve joint, and I'm like, oh my god, this song is so hot. The rest of the album is going to be this tough. And you know, I gave it maybe like 4 or 5 listens back to back to back, and I mean, I enjoyed it. I definitely don't think it's a classic. Nas more than anyone else needed a full length project, I think, just because it's like been so long since he had another project. But
Nas out here making millions.
Oh yeah, he's making a lot of business moves.
Millions on million. I mean, can you imagine the time it takes to do all that?
Well, yeah, but my biggest issue is with the Nas album. I mean, I feel like a couple years ago, I was hearing from DJ Khaled that Nas' album was done.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask, is this the album that he was talking about? That was 2 years ago.
Stayfly, go ahead in on that, man.
Nah, so like 2 things with this one. Like obviously, like I'm a huge Nas fan, so I was super hyped to hear about this one. But yeah, so Nas album done, the track that was 2 years ago, and then I think last year, I think Jungle put out like a hashtag Nas album almost done. So with this one, like even in the review I wrote, it was like the one thing that's keeping me from really sort of and of course the Kanye stuff. Like this one I think was worse for me just because Nas is way more like social and political in this one. So you're saying all this shit, and then you got you know, Kanye in the background trolling.
Kanye.
And then you got, you know, him doing, you know, all the tracks. So like I'm trying to listen to you, but I can't. I just hearing his dumb ass. So I think this one was like with the push. Yeah, he got a little bit, but at the he's push. He's talking about the streets. So like I can kind of separate it. With this one, it was too blatant for me to kind of get over that. So that's one. And then two, the biggest what if for me, it was like I know there's another album out here like that he was working on the past 2-3 years. I want that album. I feel like before Kanye got sort of control of this one, like because I feel like the whole 7 album thing, like I heard what you were saying, Twan, but then with Push, he's the one that was doing most. I feel like he was like doing more pub than anyone else. Like I feel like I seen him do like 100 interviews.
That's true.
And he was talking saying that, oh, he had his idea for how many, Push wanted, and then Kanye was like, nah, I had a dream and magic is, the seven numbers, 7 signs and some shit. So I feel like he's always trying to like, I don't know, like manufacture some like spiritual greatness that comes along with them or something. So
part of the God complex.
Yeah, so like that's why I just can't maybe they said 7 is whatever now what we can digest in one sitting. Bullshit. Like I don't believe him. I think he was just like, fuck, I got 5 albums to do. You know what? Fuck that. 7 times 5, 35. Let's do that. So with him, I was just and like the Wyoming session. So that was like they made it sound like he was doing all these albums in a month span. So again, so this is to backtrack to say I want the album before the last 2 months before this album came out. Like I feel like there was a large Professor track. I feel like everybody was talking about him and working with Preem. Obviously he was working with Khaled, which he ain't my favorite person, but that track was dope. So those are the top 2 things that like as a Nas fan I was like, it's still better than most of the shit, but I think this was like I was expecting something different.
That's why it always bothers me when artists talk about upcoming albums way too early, because I feel like every artist has ideas, or they may have the skeleton of an album, but things change in the 11th hour, and if you align yourself with Kanye, things are going to change after the day you say it's supposed to come out. It's just that's just part of the dangers of kind of just being under the Good Music label. Do y'all think Kanye is like putting their careers in a chokehold with this shit, or I'm hoping this is just the 7-track thing was just an experiment, and then he's never going to do it again.
Personally, well, no, I'm not gonna say personally. With Tiana Taylor specifically. And I think this is another Joe Budden bite, but I'm sure she wants out of Good Music.
I feel like she is like restricting. She's kind of holding back her real feelings.
Yeah.
Because and it's really hard to kind of keep her under control too, because she's kind of like a little pit bull. I mean,
she's been doing great actually, not sounding off. I mean, she has, but it's a whole nother level with Tiana. And I don't even know her, but she can go.
Yeah, I mean, I could just tell her personality from the interviews. She actually fought hard to get to 8. They pushed hers to 8, unlike everybody else. Everybody stuck to 7, but she was fighting tooth and nail to put that 8th track on there. And that tells me she probably got like 4 or 5 more that she wants.
I think she got more than that. She actually, because she was on Twitter again and said that the album that released that KTSE, that wasn't her real album.
That's a damn shame.
With her, I think she's trying to get out too. I think she could be really big. Like,
no, the talent is there, man. The talent is there. The swag is there.
Yeah, she's got. I mean, she married an NBA baller who,
and he's cool, man. Cool shit.
Like before her, we knew who he was because we follow sports. But now, he's. I'm not gonna put him on icon status, but like he's huge. He's a lot bigger than what he was.
Both of them together are making each other bigger too.
Yeah, and they got a show coming out. I mean, their daughter is real popular. I mean,
the show's out. I think the show's been out.
Oh, I think it's out. Yep, it's out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she could be huge, and I mean, it'll be almost like a Rihanna Jay-Z type of thing. Like, she's like Jay's around, but Rihanna's, I mean, her own icon in herself.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So did any of y'all listen to Tiana Taylor's album?
Yes.
I really, really fucking enjoyed it, man.
I think that's my second favorite one.
Yep, mine too. Second favorite.
Yeah, man. I agree. And I could tell that she fought. I feel like Nas didn't fight. When I compared him I feel like Nas didn't fight hard enough to, but it's probably because, like Stayfly said, there's a whole nother album just out there just chilling. So, you know, hopefully his next release will be that or something from that, you know. But yeah, Tiana Taylor, man, yeah, this was the album that I wished the last one was.
Yeah, that was that 7. Yeah, I love that album, and I can't. I listened to her album, this most recent one. I haven't. I think, you know, I ran through it like 2 or 3 times, and I liked it, but I can't remember anything because, like I said, when I listened to it the 3 times, it was at work.
Oh, okay.
One shift, so I haven't had time to actually.
I would say sit with it. You know, a couple more times. This was really, really, really quality, and it's like authentic R&B.
Yeah, she got a good voice, man. She got a great voice.
I swear to God, she sounds like she's from the 90s.
Man, yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Like
she had the that her track on that Cruel Summer, whatever that love song was.
Yeah, toward the end.
I love that song. She is out. Tiana is she has it. She has everything that's with her. Unfortunately, Kanye's fucking her over.
Yep, she just need the right people nurturing her career. And I kind of wonder why because wasn't she originally with Pharrell? Am I tripping?
I believe so.
I'm talking about like 08 shit, like 08, 09. I want to say she started out with Star Trek and then distanced herself, and then Kanye brought her on board when he made the whole Good Music label.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah, she did one of those super sweet 16s, and I want to
that too. Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
and then she came out with the "Google Me, Baby" song, and I'm like, I don't see it. But then I heard some other songs after that. I'm like, okay, she got something. But yeah, she
actress too.
Yo, she is like a quadruple threat.
Yeah,
you know, she killing it in all facets. Let's see. What's the album we haven't talked about yet? Kid Cudi and the Kanye West Kids See Ghosts.
Yep.
Okay, so here, let me just go in on how I feel about Kid Cudi. I definitely was a huge Cudi fan for the first 2 albums. After that, he just really kind of lost me a little bit, man. I haven't been able to really feel any Cudi albums since that second one. But this Kid See Ghost, I think you know, he's on his way back to kind of winning my fandom back. You know, he's this Cudi album was treated with the proper care for a Cudi project. I think, you know, I enjoyed at least more than half of it, I want to say. So did anyone else listen to it?
Yep.
That's negative on my part.
No, you ain't hear it.
Nope.
Devin, how you feel about it, man? No.
Oh man, I'm a huge Cudi fan. I mean, even like I understand how people feel about him, like that he went into like this rock stage.
Yeah, that's when he lost Wizard or whatever it was.
Yeah, so for me, like, you know, in our late 90s, I'm, you know, from the suburbs, so I'm big into like alternative rock music, like Blink-182, like along those lines. So when he goes into that, like, to me, like it brings something back for me. And he was so depressed at the time, and I was depressed because I was going through a divorce and shit. Like it hit me on a couple of levels. So I was able to ride with him through a lot of that.
I think, you know, when you talk about Cudi's fan base and whatnot, it seems like, you know, folks that are either going through something at the time or the alternative black man will attach himself to Cudi's music more so than the average hip hop fan. I've noticed, you know, he's one of those people that just don't give a fuck, and he's gonna pave his own lane, and he's gonna do the shit his own way. Yeah. And I respect him for that. I'm kind of when I look at Kanye though, I'm like, you up here riding on this nigga's coattails, you know, because this is Cudi's style right here, and then Kanye trying to like fit into that. I feel like ever since Cudi came out, you know, Kanye's been in a lot of ways kind of mimicking him a little bit. But
yeah, Cudi was big on that 808s and Heartbreak, and that was huge for me too at the time.
The same can be said about Kanye stealing from Drake though, or I'm not gonna say steal, I'll say I don't know, absorbing or sponging off of Drake, because I mean, this is kind of biting.
He was kind of biting.
and he's been doing that kind of for years. I mean, we've seen like a little bit of influence. I mean, we've seen Kanye, of course, influence Drake. However, we've seen Kanye try and take some of that wave a little bit, which is why possibly that the whole beef not started, but where it really kicked off at was because Drake was writing for good music and he was with them, and then let Kanye hear some music, and it one thing led to another, and then we got the beef that we had for a week.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of that beef, at least from Drake's perspective, wasn't even really going back at Push. It was going more at Kanye.
Yep. And I understood why he did it. Not to backtrack, but it was like he Pusha said it, but you the bitch ass nigga that leaked it. I trusted you, so true. And I let you hear my music, in which you vibe from. I'll say that. I'm not gonna say steal. You vibe from that, and you adopted some things that I played for you. So yeah, I'm going at you. So I understood Drake's perspective more now that has came out. But back to Kanye sampling, not sampling, but I'm trying to look for the right adjective to describe it, but whatever.
No,
Kanye, he absorbs from other people as well.
A lot of people. So yeah, I noticed he's looking for influence, because outside of that, all he's surrounded by is just fashion shit. So I mean, I guess I understand it from that standpoint. But since we were talking about biting, let's go ahead into talking about this boy Drake. This Scorpion album has kind of been one of the most polarizing projects I've heard in quite some time, and probably the most polarizing Drake album. I have not heard the album, but I feel like I've heard enough about it to know that it's absolutely not for me. And I'm not the hugest Drake hater in the world, but I won't say that I won't say that I'm a fan either. Drake has Drake's career has kind of been one of the craziest things, because depending on who you talk to, whether you're talking to a bunch of females or if you're talking to kids that are like 19, 20 versus someone in their 30s, you're just going to have completely conflicting opinions based on his music, based on his career. And I feel like he has really taken we all know that he's taken the biggest L of his entire career. I kind of think this is the beginning of the end for him though, man. How do y'all feel about the whole Scorpion rollout? Whether or not you heard it, I know you heard about it. How do y'all feel about this Scorpion rollout and how he just ducked and dodged all them haymakers from Pusha T?
I mean,
no, go ahead, Devin. You good?
I'm a huge Drake fan.
Yeah, I know.
When he came out, he came out. That shit was like a virus. I was like, I couldn't get enough.
All up and down my IG feed.
Hey, whatever. But but this album on the real, it actually kind of disappointed me too, because I was like expecting like 2016 energy. But I mean, he obviously had a lot to get off his chest. We heard all the biggest songs throughout the year already. So
nice for what and all that.
Yeah, so I was a bit disappointed, but I also heard a thing about this being his last album for like Cash Money. So now, I mean, he's basically independent or something like that.
Free agent.
Yeah. So if he just had to push something out, had a whole bunch of tracks to get on there, to me.
So he just dumped everything.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, boom, he's done. So, I guess we'll see where he goes from here. But I wasn't that impressed with this album compared to others.
So from what I've heard, the first half of the album is mostly hip hop, and the second half is all emo, R&B, whiny bullshit that I can't stand. But I tell you what, man, when Drake gets to flowing and he just starts just like ripping off bars, like kind of like he did on the Duppy freestyle, I can tolerate that. I enjoy that. He's never really saying much if you actually break down the lyrics, but he does sometimes find these pockets where the flow is really, really nice. But he's it seems like he's not really able to do that consistently throughout a project. And then he starts stealing other people's flows or trying to sound like, you know, these littles out here. I feel like it was. I heard one song where he sounded just like Young Thug, and I'm like, yo, this ain't you. Like, you don't even gotta rap like this, dude. You just gotta be Drake. You know, you don't have to sit up here and borrow nobody else's flow. Did anyone else hear Scorpion on here?
Yeah.
No.
I listened to it. I listened to the first half naturally, like everybody else did. I liked it. The first half. Not every track, but he was on there. Like I like Drake. I cake for him, but at the same time, I'm hard on him. Actually, I'm very hard on him.
I think I know why, because you know what he's capable of. You know
exactly.
And when he underachieves, you know, it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Why you like? What were you thinking when you thought to release this? And I'll say this: I won't hate on every single Drake album. There are a couple that I really enjoy. Take Care is a big one that I enjoyed. And what's the one with the blue sky and the head to the side?
Nothing was
the same. Yeah, that one was good. And one of those mixtapes, I think it was More Life, had a bunch of West Indies type beats on it.
Yeah, with More Life. Yep.
Yeah, but everything else has just been kind of a snooze fest for me, man. You know, and that's why I struggle when people say that Drake is the greatest. It's like, man, how can you fucking say that? Like, he's the greatest on what scale?
Or I mean, he can be considered. I'm not even gonna say artist, because you know it's way more people that we could say. I'm not gonna be disrespectful, but for the fact that he does have the numbers to support it is why people say that. But Drake is, like, for us, we real hip hop heads, so we hold Drake to a different standard. So especially me, for instance, I'm like a very big person as far as I didn't get to come up in you guys' era, but I love the fact and I respect a lot of the principles and the way this stuff went down like back then. So I try and use myself as a vessel to, you know, try and mix the old with the new, which is what we have now, as far as with me being like a youth liaison for Best in the Mix.
Absolutely.
And Drake is, he's one of the people that is bridging the gap between old and young, but at the same time, unfortunately, he bridges the gap to people that's not in the culture, that gives a stupid ass opinion.
Oh yeah.
To stuff like that. Like, for instance, when I'm at work and people start talking about Drake, and it don't even, your demographic doesn't have anything to do with it. However, most of the time your upbringing and your demographic does play a part in it. The white people, yeah, but the white people at my job, oh, Drake is the greatest. And I'm like, son, have you not heard like anything since I'm not even gonna say Jay-Z. Y'all know I'm a big Jay-Z stan. Yeah. Have you not heard Method Man? Have you not heard Tikal 2.0? Like, it's so much more shit that goes into music as far as with rap and hip hop, but y'all giving Drake this title, and it's like, fam, this nigga we don't even know if this nigga actually writes his own raps. Like, we know he has reference tracks for R&B songs, cool, but that ghostwriter shit, that's with, as far as with being an MC, that's what I have a hard time swallowing that pill with people saying that, because for people like us, for the fact that we are of the culture and we've been in this for so long, I hate when people give that stupid ass point of view and, oh, Drake is no. Well, it's different with Devon though. It's different with Devon. Devon is actually in the culture, so that's his actual, stance. But as outside of somebody who only listens to rock and they come in and listen to Drake and then say like, oh, this nigga's the best ever.
Like, you don't have an opinion. Sorry.
When my greatest rapper of all time is Jay-Z. Like, bar for bar, like what he's done. He shifted a lot of culture, and you can say that Drake is following a lot of his blueprint. But Drake is like, he's something different. Like he's big. Like, he's really fucking big. Like, on TV, like other TV shows mention him, like popular TV shows from like Grownish to the other joint on HBO. Like, he's really, like, he's one of the biggest things like for an era. But this is also the most connected we've ever been in human history. Like,
that's true.
It's like it's different now. Like every single one of us is connected to each other, and we could just meet each other like 5 seconds ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's like a different kind of like mark that he's making that I can see like as we're gonna progress through, you know, the next decade or so. Like, is anybody else gonna get this big like question mark?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is how I break down Drake's career, kind of in a nutshell. You know, I can't call him, you know, the greatest artist ever or the greatest artist right now. He is the greatest hit maker right now. He makes hits.
Easy.
He does not make great albums. He makes great hits. And I feel like in order to kind of be up there with the absolute greatest, you got to have some masterpieces as far as albums under your belt. He has zero. He does not.
You don't think Take Care is a masterpiece?
I think Take Care is a really, really good album, but the reason why it's good is because of the hits. Take the hit. See, the thing is, I think about some of the greatest artists of all time. You can take their radio songs off their albums, and the albums are still amazing. You can't do that for Drake. You take his radio hits off, and he has nothing.
Yeah. I mean, when you listening to music, you listening to the song
that's what draws you to. That's what draws you to. You talking about this, how the singles get you?
Yeah, like even if you don't listen to the album like that, you gonna listen to the songs that like resonate with you the most, and you just gonna listen to them some people over and over again.
I listen to albums.
Yeah, you always done that.
that was a nice hot take, and I'm thinking about that in depth now. If you take the hits off of like a lot of his albums, I'm really trying to like take the hits off of his albums, and I'm thinking about it. But
I could take the hits off.
You might be right about that. You might be right.
I could take the hits off a gang of Jay-Z albums, and he still has great albums.
You know, I'm gonna ride with that anyway because it was given like the Jay-Z, so I'm okay with it anyway.
What you call Hove? You call him the All Father?
The All Father. He's all knowing. Jay-Z the GOAT, man. I'm telling you, like I appreciate that. I mean, Drake, he definitely, like I said, man, he's a great rapper. I'm gonna say that. MC, we don't know if he writes or whatever, you know, whatever. That's not here nor there because we don't have no proof. We don't know that.
I think it's gonna be interesting to see what the next phase is for him after he separates himself.
That is exactly what I was about to say next. I'm wondering what's next as far as because now, I mean, with him. Not even as far as from a music standpoint, with him hitting these numbers, right? Everybody was gearing up towards this album because of the Pusha diss. Now the follow-up project, what is that going to sound like?
Yep.
What is that going to be about? And
also, this is the first real bit of adversity he's faced.
Pusha out Drake. That's what it was. I'm looking forward to like the return of Wayne. He got all that stuff behind him, right? So let's say Drake's free and then Wayne's free, and they do something that'd be cool.
I say Wayne forgot how to rap. I heard some recent shit, and I'm like, yo,
really?
Yeah. He forgot.
Mr. Metaphor?
He's abandoned all that. He's like kind of like I was saying Drake was doing. He's kind of rapping like these littles out here.
Oh shit.
And it's like you don't got to do that. If you already have an established legacy, why do you have to?
He doesn't
give in. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to listen to Wayne. I used to listen to Wayne like I used to listen to Drake. So.
Yeah. So stayfly, you got any hot takes on any of this shit that I know you don't give two shits about?
Man, I'll say this. You know, for all the L's he was supposed to take, as I'm scrolling through the best in the mix feed right now. And I've seen this before, but now I see DJ Premier put it out. It says he's the first artist to reach 1 billion plus streams in 1 week with Scorpion. So I think I'm not even putting him like if you have like a Venn diagram and shit, like Drake is like I think like hip hop adjacent. Like I think you made the best comment one time, Twan, when you said that you wish he just came out as an R&B star artist, because then you know you got like cats like Chris Brown and you know I forgot there's a couple other R&B.
Trey Songz did a little bit of rapping too.
Yeah, all these motherfuckers rap, man. No one cares. But then like he presented himself as a rapper, so I think you know you can't you can't come in and title yourself in sort of this arena that is hip hop where everything has to be sort of it's show and prove.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know like Roz was saying, like the fact that the Ghostwriter shit came out, that's that's a lifetime like L right there. But then he
But
busts
is
out
it
how
in
many
this era? It's not really, and not in this
it
era.
no, I'll tell you what. What's it, if you say like Kendrick Lamar don't write his own shit, you don't think that's gonna affect him differently than
Oh,
how it affects Drake?
wow, good call. I
Like
guess.
if Kendrick Lamar went toe to toe with like Push and he took like a objective L, like not even your fans can like say, yeah, you got that. You don't think you think his next album would be 1 billion plus streams in a week? Like Drake, he's a different like animal altogether. And
That's. I mean,
it,
that got me thinking, man. Yeah, I think Kendrick would take an L if we found out he wasn't writing his shit.
like the motherfucker got a Pulitzer Prize or some shit, didn't he? Like
Yeah.
a first rapper in history.
That's
Like
Pulitzer Kenny, dude. I was at the concert, and he put on the big screen Pulitzer Kenny on that joint while he was doing it. I'm like, yo, this
that's a
motherfucker,
big fucking
it's
deal.
a
That's a
whole
big fucking
new
deal.
level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
that is humongous. Like that's
Yeah,
huge.
I thought that shit was for authors
It is.
strictly, but like, apparently they got a whole music sect. So hell yeah, man, Kenny doing the damn thing. So, but
that's
yeah,
all I got. I mean, I ain't listened to the album. Like my one friend that likes Drake a lot said he liked the R&B part more than the hip hop part.
whoa, that's the first
I
time I
don't
heard that.
really. I mean, I don't have enough to know about it. But yeah, like you said, the two songs that were on the radio,
Mm.
those are the only two I think I really heard. So he's gonna keep making hits. He's gonna keep making money. It is what it is. But
Yeah, I mean, a
you
lot of
can't you can't
people.
come into the hip hop circle and throw his name out. It's not gonna fly. And depending on you know what sort of little who you got around you. But
A lot of people I know were saying that they were like, "Oh, well, Hove took an L to Nas, and he was fine." And they're like, Drake gonna be fine too. I'm like, that kind of remains to be seen. We just gonna have to kind of let this play out.
what was Ho's album or two albums after the Ether joint?
What's that?
2 albums after it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm asking you, homie, because I figured you'd be the historian here.
Oh no, it's Black. Hold on, 2 albums after Takeover. It was Blueprint 2 and then Black Album.
All right, so Blueprint 2 was a womp womp.
That was oh my god. And Blueprint 2, the real thing was he was just trying to flood the market with as much music as possible before 50 Cent hit the scene and took over the world. So that's all Blueprint 2 was. He was just trying to flood, the streets with music. But yeah, Black Album came out after that. That was
good.
Yeah.
That was a good one. So he bounced back, but
yeah.
But with not just to slide back in, did y'all? I don't know if y'all seen the clip, and this is not even attached to what we're talking about. It is, but it's not. Did y'all see the clip where 50 Cent was doing an interview, and he was talking about how Jay-Z is still trying to he's getting one up on Nas? Did y'all see the release?
Well, I mean,
he was just saying it just on some petty shit because Nas had released the night before, and then Jay-Z and Beyonce released 3 hours after that.
They shitted on the whole Good Music rollout.
The whole Good Music rollout, which was hilarious to me. And 50 was like, Jay still trying to slap this nigga, bro. It was just funny to me.
It was a slap to Nas and Kanye.
Yeah. And that was in spite of Kanye, especially that Drake verse. That's what I wanted to say. That Drake verse that Jay-Z gave him, that was inspired because Drake and Jay-Z been having a little tiff.
Yeah, they ain't really been
couple years
like that.
He did that shit on purpose just to piss Kanye off, and I loved every minute of it.
I agree. It's just funny how Hov is just able to just chill in the background and then just drop something out the blue and be like, "Fuck all of y'all," and have it be one of the best albums. That album he came out with Beyonce, that's the best Beyonce album I ever heard in my life. It's just straight. It's like ratchet. It's like ratchet B.
I don't think you're no demographic though.
It don't matter.
I'm probably more Beyonce demographic because I for sure have listened to Beyonce albums a few times. The ones that I like, I've listened to them front to back.
Well, I haven't heard all of them. I don't know nothing about Lemonade or nothing like that.
Well, that's my stepmom, so I got to listen to it.
Yeah, I be around a lot of women, and that's what they be playing. So yeah, I listen.
That album is good. And there's a couple, and like half the tracks on there is really just Hov featuring B. They flip flop, you know. So I mean, it's really just the big. I mean, it's the perfect collab album, you ask me. And they made sure that even though they kept it short, that pretty much every song on there was like a smash.
How many tracks was it?
10, 9, 10, 11, something like that.
It was in between 9 and 11.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it'd be funny if it was 7.
And you know what? If they had 7, they could have did it with just 7. Especially if they picked the tracks right, like of the tracks that they do have. They, especially that Friends song with the shots that he took.
Oh man, that was a shot at. I feel like it was a shot at Ye.
That was a direct shot at Ye. He might as well set his name on that shit.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, and Stayfly, to your comment about like that not being my demographic. The reason why I said that's like the best B albums because I usually don't care for Beyonce albums. Like it's not nothing that resonates with me. But imagine if Beyonce had a great album that you could fuck with. That's what this is. You know, like that. Like that's what I'm trying to say. It's like it's raw as hood, and I've never heard Beyonce be that hood over a whole fucking album. And I had to remind myself, like, she is from Houston, so.
Twan be in the car jamming like his Sunday's best.
You have no idea. When I heard that ape shit jump, yo.
Oh yeah, that shit is hard. That's hard.
Nah, but they got a couple jumps on there, man. You know, and Hov is in rare form, and Hov is able to jump into any pocket he wants to, and
his ability to rap and catch beats, like
yeah, man.
And it keeps growing and developing. It's like, when is this nigga gonna stop?
I fully expected every whole verse to be garbage on this album, and that's just not the case at all. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Expect that.
Pleasantly surprised by that album.
Yeah, I mean, when it dropped, I mean, I was just like, what? Y'all know, like I said, y'all know I'm a Jay-Z stan. If Jay-Z tell me to slap a nigga right now, I'm slapping.
But it's just crazy how they didn't need no promo, they didn't need nothing. They were just on tour, then out the blue, drop an album. And you know what I'm saying? And it caught wildfire. I'm like, look, this is the blueprint right here.
They're calculated, man. Because the way the video dropped, where it was at,
in the museum and shit.
Yeah, Beyonce don't play around with that shit. Like all that, she don't need to do any of that.
And then they didn't even need this album. They didn't need none of this shit.
No, this is part 3. This is all aesthetics because it was. I mean, look at like how y'all talking about the visuals with the video from this album with the Beyonce and Jay album. But thinking about going back to Lemonade and how some of the videos were shot. I mean, I know y'all probably didn't watch the videos, but I did listen to Lemonade like once or twice and watch the videos. But she the way the visuals were shot in 444 plus not 444, but Lemonade plus the lyrics, and then Jay-Z tells his side, and then you come together for a part 3. I mean, people have been saying this since Lemonade came out.
Yeah, and
they've been very calculated every step for the past.
And the whole time I knew they was working on a joint jump. But yeah, this is perfect. Yeah, first you got hers, then Hov's, then the joint. Yeah, the joint album. So they did it perfectly. What's up
with the tour?
On top of all that. So, and this motherfucker's almost 50. It's like, yo, is he ever gonna fall off?
I really hope he don't.
Nope. Hey, he gave us the blueprint too. So you be around 40 something and get you a nice bad 30-year-old.
Yeah, man.
Like, live your life. Because at that point, you done got all the wild child out of you. And you can be like, all right, all my peers, they all ran through. Let me give me a young joint.
And she just so happened to be the baddest woman in the world, pretty much.
And then cheat on her. And then you got to almost lose something to really appreciate it. Yeah. He living his best life.
Man, I would so love to see who the fuck he smashed.
I want to know who he had that threesome with. That's what I want to know.
You know it was bad.
I'm like, how do they compare? I gotta know, man.
You know it was bad. Hey, you know it was bad.
Yeah, because I mean, they see him with B.
Nah, it's not that, man. It's power, man. It's power.
Look at his track record. I mean, Blue Cantrell, Rosario Dawson.
I didn't know Rosario Dawson was in the mix.
Yeah, Jay-Z was dating before Beyonce. I think, matter of fact, remember that the Lost Ones verse? I think that had came out that he was talking about Rosario Dawson in that.
Oh, well, man, shoot, was it?
I believe so. No, they for sure.
Maybe a little bit of one verse. I think a little bit of, was that also the song that was kind of taking shots at Dame?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
That one, and that's when he talked about his nephew dying and stuff like that. But Jay-Z, he didn't as far as the girls that he has dated, he's kept them.
He hasn't really missed. So,
especially with Rosario. Shit.
Yeah, that's a bad one right there, man. So, but all right, I ain't gonna hold y'all up for too much longer. We can go ahead and wrap this up. And I'll just add a conclusion later on. So, but yeah, I appreciate y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and stop this broadcast.